The Golden State Warriors just made another statement, taking down the Milwaukee Bucks without Steph Curry. But what really stood out in this one was their defensive scheme against the NBA's highest scoring duo. If the rest of the NBA doesn't figure out what the Warriors just did, they could be in some serious trouble come playoff time. For Golden State, this game was a showcase of just how dominant they can be defensively when they fully commit, especially when Steph Curry is resting. At times, they were nearly impossible to score against, rolling out lineups that completely shut down the Bucks' offense. One of the most devastating combinations was Gary Payton, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. Their aggressive approach completely threw Milwaukee's offense out of rhythm, along with having an exceptional defender at every position. We're going to fully break down their game plan in just a moment, but first, Draymond Green. He was absolutely sensational defensively once again in this game, particularly against the two-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. When guarded by Draymond, Giannis struggled all night, going 0 of 6 from the floor. If there was any doubt about Draymond's defensive greatness, this game erased it. Afterward, when asked about the Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond simply said, "I want another one." Jimmy Butler also praised his impact, saying you've got to respect the hell out of what he does. Draymond, who ended the game with 2 steals and 4 blocks, completely locked down Milwaukee's offense for stretches of this game. But Golden State's defensive game plan wasn't just about shutting down Giannis. Despite the challenge of containing both him and Damian Lillard, the Warriors managed to do both at the same time. The duo, usually the highest scoring pair in the league, combined for just 11 of 34 shooting. For Damian Lillard, he was kept quiet to 16 points on 33% shooting, while Giannis had one of the most quiet games I've seen from him in a very long time, and this is coming from a Bucks fan, managing to put up just 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. All of that coming on just 31% shooting, going 5 of 16 from the floor. Interestingly, Milwaukee's top offensive performer on the night was Kyle Kuzma. Golden State made the choice to leave him open, and while he led the team with 22 points, it only came on 7 of 16 shooting, and he didn't score after the 2:15 mark of the third term. Milwaukee's offense had been trending up recently, making their 93-point total even more impressive from a defensive standpoint. But holding Giannis, a guy who normally shoots 60%, to just 31%, that's a generational defensive effort. So let's break it all down. How did the Warriors' defensive game plan completely eliminate the highest scoring duo in the NBA? Even if you were just casually watching this game, something was clear. They made life absolutely miserable for Giannis every time he touched the ball in the paint, crowding him with multiple defenders and daring the rest of the Bucks to beat them. But that wasn't the only tactic. They also face guarded Damian Lillard for a lot of this game, and they even started throwing traps at him once he got going, as early as just crossing half court. That constant pressure forced the normally steady hand of Dame into 2 crucial turnovers and an overall ineffective shooting night. However, it wasn't turnovers that doomed Milwaukee. The Bucks actually took care of the ball well in this game, committing just 9 turnovers all game long, which would lead the NBA. The real damage came from the way Golden State forced the ball out of Dame and Giannis's hands time and time again. As a team, Milwaukee managed to just shoot 39% from the field, a testament to the Warriors' relentless defensive energy. And now, let's take a closer look at how it played out. On Milwaukee's first possession of the game, Giannis ran a pick and roll with Kyle Kuzma, but Draymond Green did an excellent job of fighting over the screen as he and Quinton Post slowed down Giannis as he got towards the paint. Once he got there, Giannis was stuck under the basket, and Draymond swooped in for a block from behind. The next time down, the Bucks ran a Dame Giannis pick and roll, but Golden State iced the screen, forcing Giannis to settle for a 3, which Draymond happily dared him to take. Giannis obliged, and it resulted in another miss. With the Warriors sending so much attention toward Milwaukee's 2 main stars, someone had to be open, and that man was Kyle Kuzma. He did knock down some shots, especially in the third quarter, but given his 29% three-point shooting this season, Golden State was willing to live with the results. Here's a perfect example. Quinton Post slides over to prevent Giannis from spinning past Draymond for a dunk, leaving Kuzma open, but he could not convert. Early in the game, it felt like the entire Bucks team could not buy a basket from beyond the arc. Golden State wasn't just doubling Giannis in the post. They were even sending extra defenders as far out as half court, cutting off his ability to get downhill. Even when he made the right read, Like this beautiful pass from Dame for an open three, even Lillard couldn't convert, allowing the Warriors to continue to play aggressive. But even without the double team, Draymond was still shutting down Giannis in a one-on-one setting, like he did on this possession under the basket. By halftime, Golden State's defensive pressure had done its job. Milwaukee had only managed 44 points. But coming out of halftime, the Bucks looked like a completely different team, playing with the energy and urgency they needed to compete at the highest level. Damian Lillard set the tone early, denying Jimmy Butler an easy dunk as they begun to lock in defensively. Offensively, they started using Dame in high pick and roll sets in early offense, which got them a good look with Dame attacking the switch on Quentin Post. However, Steve Kerr quickly adjusted, sending a blitz at Dame whenever he came off that high screen and roll, but Milwaukee began to figure that out too, as they just ran the action quicker, creating open looks, like this one to Brook Lopez for three. With so much defensive attention on Lillard and Golden State still doubling Giannis, Kyle Kuzma started to get even more space on the perimeter, and while he has been inconsistent from deep this season, he's still an NBA player, as if you give him enough shots, he's going to start knocking them down. His shooting in the third term stretched Golden State's defense and helped Milwaukee claw back into the game with a strong third term. However, the issue still remained. The Bucks offense was not coming from their best two players, and for this team, that's not a sustainable way to win. Once the fourth quarter begun, Golden State's strategy started paying off, as Milwaukee's outside shooters cooled off again. But it wasn't just defense. It was Golden State's offense that really sealed this game. They ran everything through Jimmy Butler, who attacked relentlessly and got to the free throw line, putting even more pressure on Milwaukee's already struggling defense. Defensively, the Warriors stayed aggressive, like on this possession where they doubled Dame, forcing a turnover that would ultimately lead to a Buddy Hield transition three. As for Giannis, Golden State recognized that he was having an off-shooting night, so every time it looked like he might get an easy basket, they started fouling him. Even though Giannis would begin to make free throws in the fourth quarter, it did not matter, as he wasn't getting his usual high percentage shots, along with taking a beating from Golden State's physical defense. By taking away Milwaukee's two stars and making their role players have to beat them, Golden State's defense completely suffocated Milwaukee in crunch time. In fact, Milwaukee didn't make a single field goal in the final 4 minutes of action, as the Warriors locked in and shut them down to secure the win. Golden State's defensive game plan was so effective that it actually sparked an internal discussion within the Bucks locker room. After the game, Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and head coach Doc Rivers all sat down to address what needs to change offensively, according to Chris Haynes. With Milwaukee going 2-5 over their last 7 games, this loss where they only put up 93 points felt like a tipping point. The Warriors weren't the first team to try this defensive scheme against Milwaukee, but they were by far the best at executing it, completely shutting down the Bucks' entire offensive system. Now, once Steph Curry returns, Golden State won't be able to play at this level every single night on the defensive end, simply because he's not the same kind of defensive presence as Gary Payton. But if they can even maintain 75% of what they showed in this game, it will be a huge asset in the postseason. And that's a big reason why I see a real path for Golden State to make it out of the Western Conference. One of the biggest questions surrounding this new look Golden State Warriors team, now with Jimmy Butler in the mix, is whether Jimmy can still reach that next level and take over offensively when it matters the most. It's still a fair concern, especially since his deep playoff runs with Miami came in an Eastern Conference that hasn't been nearly as competitive as the West in recent seasons. Many wondered whether or not he'll still deliver those signature Jimmy Buckets type performances in a more stacked conference. Well, even though this is just one game, Butler showed exactly what he is capable of in crunch time. He flipped the switch in the fourth quarter, stepping into that familiar playoff Jimmy mode, finishing with a near triple-double of 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. For the first 3 quarters, Butler was more focused on setting up his teammates, which explains those 10 assists. He managed to keep the offensive flowing, finding guys in rhythm for quality looks. But once the fourth began, he changed up his approach. He got aggressive, hunting his own shot on top of this, connecting on 2 and 1 3-pointers 3-pointers, one that was later overturned because his toe was on the line, but the other stood as a 4-point play. His ability to get to the free throw line at an elite level adds another layer of complexity to Golden State's offense. In this game, he got there a total of 11 times and did not miss. In the fourth, he found his spots in the mid-range, knocking them down with efficiency, all while keeping his teammates engaged, putting the Dubs in a position to win. That effort was capped off by 2 clutch assists, one to Quentin Post, threading a bounce pass for an open corner 3, and another to seal the game, drawing the defense in and dropping it off to Gary Payton for the short floater. Without Steph Curry, Golden State just made a statement, fueled by an elite defensive effort and a final form Jimmy Bucket's takeover. But the biggest question now, how they'll reintegrate Jonathan Kuminga. And if they don't figure that out quickly, their playoff run could be in serious jeopardy. If you want to see my full thoughts on that situation, you can check out this video next.